Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. I woke up this morning feeling absolutely incredible, like I could conquer the world, and I want to get into a bunch of stuff that I have had planned for a while. So we're going to start the morning off with a nice cup of coffee. We're going to make breakfast from scratch, and then we're going to get into some sewing projects that I have been wanting to work on for a little while now. I also have a dinner plan that I'm really excited about. I found a bunch of new recipes that I've been wanting to test out. One of them is a viral dumpling recipe on TikTok, so I'm going to give that a try tonight for dinner as well. I woke up this morning feeling really relaxed and not really caring about any kind of to-do list that I had. I'm putting everything on the back burner today and just focusing on stuff that I want to do. I also woke up very hungry this morning. I don't usually eat breakfast. I just feel like it kind of messes with my stomach, and I noticed whenever I started pushing breakfast closer to lunchtime, it was a lot easier on my stomach, and it also helped with a lot of my weight loss goals. Anyway, I don't usually eat breakfast, and I've gotten pretty used to not eating breakfast, or at least later breakfast, but some mornings I still wake up kind of hungry. So what I wanted to do was I was wanting to make some waffles for the boys because they were really wanting waffles. And then also I'm wanting to make something that I have always referred to as veggie eggs, which is just like an egg scramble with a bunch of vegetables, whatever ones you have on hand. And so that is what I'm going to be working on. I would say one of my kids' favorite things that I make is probably waffles. It's so very easy to do from scratch. And oftentimes we don't really have them for breakfast though. A lot of times everybody has them for dessert. Even my husband and my older two especially, they have waffles or pancakes from the freezer for dessert all the time. So anyway, I wanted to be able to make a large batch of waffles for breakfast today, but to also have in the freezer for later days. I also do apologize. It's a little bit back and forth in the kitchen this morning, and I try to, whenever I'm making videos, kind of not have it as choppy and kind of finish things together so it doesn't feel as choppy, but more realistically it's back and forth, especially when you have a bunch of different things that you're making at one time. So I do apologize. It's a little back and forth. I have some stuff on the stove. I'm working on the waffles. I'm just kind of all over the place this morning, but that is more realistic when I have a bunch of things going on at one time. I have the tomatoes and onions and stuff going on the stove right now. I'm wanting to get those cooked a little bit before I add the spinach and eggs. So I have those going on the stove. I'm still working on putting together the batter for the waffles. I'm pretty sure I have saved this waffle recipe on my channel before, but we've made it a handful of times. It's so super easy, and it is one of my kids' favorite. One of the things I've noticed though, when making pancake or waffles, I cannot talk this morning. When I have made waffles, my kids really like the Eggo waffles, and so to mimic that texture of it, because a lot of times like when you make waffles at home, they're a lot softer. So to mimic the texture of that, I will pull the waffles off of the iron and then I put them right in the toaster, and I promise you there's like no difference between that and the Eggo waffles that you get in the freezer section at the store. As I was making the waffles, I decided that I wanted to take it a step further and make homemade whipped cream. I absolutely love this one, and I like having it on my coffee. So that was kind of a main factor in this. I wanted to put some in the fridge or freezer to have for my coffee in the morning, but also we have some homemade strawberry jam, and I figured whipped cream and homemade strawberry jam on top of our homemade waffles would be something that my kids would really enjoy. If you have never made homemade whipped cream, I urge you to do it because it is so much better than store-bought. It is just heavy whipping cream, powdered sugar, and I like to add a splash of vanilla extract. I feel like that makes it taste just like the whipped cream that you get at Starbucks. I feel like they taste pretty identical, and it's absolutely delicious. You just whip those until it's formed peaks like this, and then you are good. I've added in the spinach and cooked it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to be adding in all the eggs. I'll add in some milk and scramble them up and cook them until it's done. We have our whipped cream done. I'm still working on the waffles, but we are pulling breakfast together and it is going to be so delicious. I'm curious what the weather has been like for you guys. Here it has been really back and forth. I think it was last week. It was one day there it actually snowed in the morning. Nothing like that stuck or anything like that, but there was snowflakes in the morning, and then like 2 days later it was 90 degrees. So we have had major whiplash from basically experiencing all of the seasons in 1 week within just a couple days of each other, and it's pretty much been a repeat pattern this week as well. So we have had really, really warm days. I actually have a little bit of a sunburn from sitting outside yesterday, but so we've had some really warm days, but then we've also like dropped down and had a couple of really cold days in between. And I feel like it's also messing with everybody's sinuses. Everybody's kind of stuffed up at this point and feeling that back and forth of all of the weather changes. And here is how breakfast turned out. These are the boys' plates. So they had a little bit of the veggie eggs, and then they had some waffles with that homemade whipped cream and some strawberry jam. This was my plate. I opted out of doing the waffles. I didn't want something super, super heavy. Like I said, I'm not used to eating breakfast, so I try to not have as much. I feel like it just messes up my stomach. So anyway, I just had some veggie eggs. I topped it with a little bit of salsa, and here is the leftover waffles that we have for the freezer. So I know I said I wasn't focused too much on my to-do list, but one thing that I don't really ever mind doing is doing sheets and blankets. It's like doing towels. When you have like a whole load of towels, it's like, it's not really laundry because it's fine. It's very easy. It's quick. So one of the things that I needed to do was the linens on our guest bedroom. So I'm just putting those out. I put them in the washer. Now I'm hanging them out to dry since it is a nice warm day outside. And so they'll dry in no time. I also do plan on going up and doing some of my sewing because I do it usually in the guest room. I want to get some of the stuff out of the way before I have my surgery, and that way I don't have to go up in the guest room and do any sewing or anything like that. But I'm wanting to get these taken care of because we have my mom. She's going to be staying with us off and on after my surgery just to kind of help out with things here and there. So She is going to be staying in the guest room, and like I said, it's going to be off and on. She's going to be keeping the kids company the day that I have my surgery, and because I have to go so early in the morning, she's going to be staying over. And then when Kyle goes back to work, she plans on coming back and staying some more just to help out, like I said. So anyway, I wanted to get everything nice and taken care of while she's going to be staying. She'll have some fresh sheets and blankets on her bed. While those are hanging to dry, I wanted to work on a couple of sewing projects. So I got a bunch of pants, and I recently discussed this in a video or two a while back, I think, but whenever I had my whole issue, my hemorrhage back in December, I ended up getting rid of some pants because I had such a major hemorrhage, and in the emergency room, pants and other clothes were thrown out, and it was like my nicer linen pants, and I was really upset about it. They're just pants, so it's really not that big of a deal. But so I went ahead and I ordered a couple more pairs of pants, and they came in. I was really excited because my favorite color is yellow, so I ordered yellow pants, and these are it. But the only issue I had was I felt like they were too wide-legged. So I wanted to kind of just take the legs in a little bit so they didn't seem so wide-legged like they were swallowing me. I'm a very short person, and so it doesn't take much of a wide leg to make me feel like I'm just being swallowed by the pants. So anyway, I'm taking these in. I also have a couple more pairs that I'm very excited about that I also will be taking in. Like I said, it was just a little too wide leg for me, and I wanted them just more casual and comfortable. So that is what I'm doing. Now, it's funny because I used to have a sewing business. I had it for probably about 10 years, maybe a little longer than 10 years. I started when my daughter Aubrey was, I want to say she was like 2 years old. Yeah, she was 2 years old. And I just started off by making her dresses. And then it turned into my whole friend group wanted dresses that I was making for Aubrey. And then I had one of the friends suggest that I start an Etsy making dresses. And so that's actually where it began. When Aubrey was about 2 years old, I started an Etsy, and it completely blew up. Like, I mean, I was sewing for like 12 hours a day, working on dresses. Here's how the yellow pants turned out. Like I said, we're not making dramatic changes, but I just wanted them to feel a little more taken in than what I had received them as. So that's all we're doing here. And this is a new pair of pants that I'm doing exactly the same thing to. But anyway, so I had started an Etsy. It completely blew up. It was insane, the amount of orders that I was getting for these little girl dresses. And I spent about 10 years working on them, and it eventually, we moved here, and it just kind of started getting in the way of life. It wasn't as fun anymore. It wasn't so much of a hobby. It just lost its excitement for me. And so ultimately, I think it was right before I had Hayden. I think that was when I just decided to stop. I remember I was still sewing when I was very heavily pregnant with Hayden, and it took a whole toll on my body. I mean, you're sitting there for so many hours sewing and stuff every day, and you're heavily pregnant. That it just really, really hurts. So I ended up stopping right before I had him. And I want to say like the Halloween, I pushed through the Halloween, whenever I was pregnant with him, and he was born in December. So I pushed through Halloween orders and ended right after that. And sometimes I still miss it. It's like it took, when it was a job, it really took the fun out of it. And then now that I don't have it, it's like I still want to continue it as a hobby. It's something that I taught myself, just something that I did for Aubrey. It's something that she grew up with. My older two grew up with the sounds of the sewing machine constantly. They grew up doing different like modeling photo shoots with all the other local kids wearing my outfits and stuff, and they just grew up in that, and they're very natural with it. It comes very natural for them. And I just miss it sometimes. And I was actually talking to a friend while I was sewing these, and I'm singing. If you notice, I'm not talking on the phone at this point. I got a really great 90s playlist going, and I am just singing and really enjoying myself. But I had talked to a friend while I was doing this, and she's like, I really miss your sewing days, because a lot of times even she was very present during them. It was like a whole communal thing. And although I do not miss the work part of it, I really miss like that whole communal thing of it, and just the projects and the fun that we had with it. So apparently I'm not the only one, because like I said, she was like, oh, I really miss your sewing days. And so it's kind of fun getting in here and, dancing and singing and sewing and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, here are how these pants turned out. Like I said, I took these in like several inches, so they were really, really wide-legged. I was pretty excited about these. They're so incredibly comfortable. And I don't know what it was, but like the patchwork, I remember kids when I was in high school had those, like, they looked very similar to that, those like type of pants. And I always thought they were so cool and I wanted them. And I never had them until now. I'm, a 30-something-year-old teenager. And now I have my own pair. And so I just wanted to make sure that they fit how I wanted them to fit. And I'm so happy with how they turned out. So now I am moving on to a jumper. I am so back and forth with jumpers. And I feel like a lot of women are, at least my friends that I talk to, they are too. I want to love a really good jumper. However, I feel like I rarely do. I keep giving them tries over the years, and some people are made to wear jumpers and some people are not. And I think I'm one that's not, but I keep trying. And so this was I knew this was going to be a loose jumper. Because it's kind of like a bohemian style one. I wanted something very comfortable and flowy that I could wear in the yard this summer and be able to, do yard work in the garden, play with the kids. And I just wanted something very comfortable and very like flowy. So I found this jumper online. I ordered it. However, it was giant. Like I could fit 2 people in this jumper. So I'm like, that is not going to work. It looks ridiculous. So I am taking it in quite a bit to kind of try to size it down, probably a couple of sizes. So I end up doing that, and I'm pretty excited with how it turned out. It's really hard to see with the lighting and how this mirror is in this room, but I'm pretty excited with how it turned out. So anyway, we got our sewing done, and now I'm hopping outside to get the laundry. It is now dry. I also did have some of like the blankets and stuff hanging out there too, but we are going to now make the bed, and so it's nice and ready for whenever my mom comes to stay. If you're at all curious, so the day that I'm doing this voiceover is actually the day before my surgery. So by the time you see this, I will have already had surgery, and I feel really, really good about the progress that I have made beforehand. And stocking everything up, the work that I've done, I feel really, really good about it. And I feel like I have all my ducks in a row and I can finally relax. But yeah, just know that I have already had my surgery. I did a lot of recording beforehand in several weeks before my surgery. So then I would not have to worry about that. I would have plenty of content to be able to share with you guys. And then I also do plan on sharing updates and stuff like that. But just know that I have had my surgery by the time you're seeing this. And And all of this is pretty much like pre-recorded. So don't worry, I am not doing all of this before or after my surgery. I know a lot of people are like, calm down, don't stress your body out, you need to relax. Just know I am. It's just not something that, you sit and record. So you see a lot of me doing things and it might seem like I'm taking on too much. I promise you I am still relaxing and taking care of everything beforehand, and it's not overdoing it or anything like that. I'm just, it's all pre-recorded and it's over several weeks. So I'm happy the fact that I have stretched it out over so long, because I was able to get a lot of different footage for you guys and share, the times going up to my surgery. But I feel like whenever I am sharing, it might seem like I'm just taking on too much. And I promise you, it's not that. It is very spread out. And I have indeed sat down and relaxed and enjoyed, just sitting. So I promise you I have done that. Anyway, I am finishing making this bed. And honestly, like if you noticed the sheets and stuff, I feel like the sheets are made for a larger bed. This is a queen size bed, and I'm assuming those are like king size sheets. So they seemed really loose, but I just make sure that like I tuck them under the mattress really well. I don't know if I even have queen size sheets anymore, but these ones always work out fine. So these are the ones that I usually put on. And then just a couple of, I'm not one of those people that like matches all of the quilts and sheets and pillows and stuff. I've never been that person. And so I never buy the sets really. I never really care. I mix and match all of them. And that's kind of what this is. It's just a mix and match, but it works out for us. Okay, so we are in the kitchen and we are moving on to dinner. This was a viral TikTok thing that has been going on for a little while. I keep seeing it and it sounds like something that my family would really enjoy. So that is what I'm making. I will have the recipe down below in the description box if you're wanting to give it a try. It's honestly super easy and it's really delicious. So I feel like this recipe tasted a lot like the curry that I make. So if you've tried that, I feel like it has a really, really similar flavor. It's just not a soup. It's more of you mix all of these things together and then make, I don't want to say gravy. It's like a sauce. It's like a curry sauce. And then you put the dumplings in and you cook the dumplings in this sauce that you make. Now, I did not think that it was going to be enough for my family. So I took half of the dumplings from this large bag. I put them into the baking dish with this sauce, and then I steamed the rest in a little bit of beef broth. And in all honesty, my family actually liked the steamed dumplings more. They still liked the ones in this curry sauce, but they kept going back for the steamed ones in the beef broth. So just know if, you also are questioning if I made both because I didn't think it would be enough. You could also just steam them, and that also goes over very well. I couldn't find one of the sauces, and so I had to do a combination of like teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, and something else. I'll leave it down below, but anyway, I had to do a mixture, and I couldn't open the teriyaki. And so I gave it to my husband. However, he recently hurt his hand. And so he was having issues grasping the teriyaki sauce to like open it too. So we were having all kinds of issues today. But anyway, and I had never used that one. So I was smelling it to see, what it even smelled like. But I'm mixing all of these together. And like I said, I feel like the end result really resembles that curry soup that I make. Here's the pot stickers that I bought. Now, my store did not have very many options. There was pork and vegetable. That was it. And honestly, this was it in terms of dumplings as well. So that is what I used because that is all I could find. But you could definitely switch it up if you can find different ones that you think that you or your family will like a little more. So I was trying to decide which way I was putting them in this because I knew that they weren't going to be fully submerged. I was just trying to figure out how they would cook the best, how I laid them. And this recipe is actually a Trader Joe's recipe. So we don't have any of those even remotely close. I want to say that they're all at least 2 hours away. And I want to say that that's even a stretch. Like it might be 3 or 4 hours from us. We have none that are close. So I just used what I could find, and it's very limited in the stores around me. But if you can find other ones, or if you have a Trader Joe's by you, you could totally try, the exact ones that are actually in this viral TikTok recipe. So like I said, I just mixed all of the ingredients for the sauce into the bottom of this baking dish. I'm layering these dumplings in the sauce, and because they weren't fully submerged, I thought I should probably bake them for a good portion of the time with foil covering them. So that is what I did. I put some foil over top and I put them in the oven. I'll have all the details down below for you, but they ended up turning out really, really good. This was something that I don't know if I'll end up doing the sauce too much, just because I really enjoyed it and my husband really enjoyed it. But as far as the kids, they preferred the ones that were steamed. I ended up serving these over rice and then topped it with green onions. But this is how it turned out. Like I said, it was a delicious meal. But this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.